Hey, there I am. There's the ugly mug. There's the ugly mug. And of course, there's nobody here. I done scared everybody away. Do 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 do. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. We can get rid of that though, because that's not there yet. And we're gonna get rid of that. And that needs to be fixed. No, I didn't want to do that. Hey, I've got 3 people watching. Hey. Hey, New Fenris, what's going on, bud? Nothing much on this end, my friend. I'm just going through and I guess, for lack of a better term, doing some cleanup work. Something that I was asked about a couple days ago, and I happened to think, you know what? I've never actually put up a track plan. I had something that I was working off of. Of course, this thing doesn't look anything like what I originally drew up, of course, but so I'm actually on my other computer down here. I'm actually in the process of modifying the track plan so I can actually get it to where I can move it off of that computer and onto this one. I think I've mentioned it before. I've got an old Windows. I forgot. I don't even know what the heck this thing is running anymore. This thing is it's running a version of Windows that's so old. I have a feeling that this thing might be like XP, so it's not even tied to the internet. So anything that I do over on that computer, I actually have to move it via Fire Stick, which I happen to finally find my Fire Stick. So I'm over here redoing my track plan to match what's actually behind me. Did a cleaning of my rail. Really? Starting over? What's going on, Dwayne? The funny thing of it is, and I was just, if you see the tripod over my left shoulder by the fireplace, I was actually just talking about Vlog 28. And I had come down here last night, and of course, it was a bad move. We ended up with some really nasty thunderstorms that lasted for what seemed like 7 or 8 hours. I think we ended up with like almost 2 inches of rain last night, and it hadn't rained here in like 2.5 weeks. So, the dogs were down here, and of course, where did they want to be? Under my feet. So I was actually thinking about going ahead and actually starting to tack down my sub road bed and putting down my road bed. And of course, after I got sort of into it a little bit, I realized on the back side of that white hill back there, I had not put in the re-railers. Hey, Grandpa Rails. So if you guys, which I'm sure some of you are, familiar with my old 13-foot by 11-foot layout, had a swing bridge. And on that swing bridge, it had 4.5 tracks. One of them was the yard lead. And I had, on each end of that bridge, I had put re-railers. So that way, if I misaligned it a little bit, the trains would just keep going across it. Well, that section back there where the hill is a fold down section because there is a closet with a oil tank behind it that's been decommissioned. It's just sitting in there. And I'm like, you know what? If I build that part permanent, I'm going to want to get that out of there, which means I'd have to move the layout. That's not going to happen. So I made it to where it would fold down, and I was going to put re-railers across, both sides, the front and the rear. So that way, if I had to fold it down, when I folded it back up, brought it back up to normal, everything would line back up. But I realized last night that that's not going to work the way I thought it was going to. So I actually put a question up on Vlog 28, which will actually come out Thursday. Just looking for suggestions as to how I can do. I think I've actually come up with an idea. The problem is dumb me, not thinking about it, got ahead of myself and actually soldered in the re-railers on the front side. So they're kind of permanent at the moment. They're not cut, but they're permanent. So, hey, Jerry, evening. So, but because of the fact, the way that this thing sits, it's not going to work the way I had it on that bridge. So I'm going to have to come up with something a little bit different, and I've got some ideas as to how I'm going to tackle it, but that'll be something for the future that I can mess with. I did the other night, or actually Sunday, I was down here for about 5.5 hours and actually ran a full schedule again. And unlike the first time where it took me 6.5 hours, it only took me 5.5 hours this time. And of course, with that, it's like, well, why did it take less time? Well, this time around, I actually went ahead and had things a little bit more thought out as to how things should work and how they were going to go. So I think that was the biggest difference. So, each time that this thing gets run, it's probably going to get a little bit better. It's going to get a little bit more fluid until I actually get folks down here and start operating on this thing. That's going to be a blast. This thing already is a blast. Even by yourself, this thing is a blast. I didn't think that I would like having, I guess for lack of a better term, a point-to-point layout. Because of the nuances of doing something like that, having to go in and having to move trains on and off the layout constantly. But I find it to be absolutely intense. It's so satisfying to actually have what seems to be these trains going someplace and actually doing something instead of just running around in circles all the time. Even though this layout will run around in circles. I mean, I can go over there, put a train on the track and watch it, circle the layout, all 1 minute and 45 seconds of it if I set the speeds right. So, that's kind of cool. But to be able to actually come down here and be able to shuffle, rolling stock around the railroad is that's the ultimate. I mean, I've actually got a miniature railroad sitting back there. Once this thing gets completely set up, it's literally a transportation system, which that's what we all strive for. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to create that, railroad system in miniature. So let's see who else is. That's just right now. It's just New Fenris, Grandpa Rails, and Dwayne, Jerry. Evening. I think I said that already, but evening again. I've had one of those days. So it's like I said, this thing, and I've mentioned it in a couple of vlogs that when I was doing the operations on this thing. This thing's awesome. It really, really is. Hey, John, Schuylkill River Valley. Good evening, sir. It's funny that you would pop in here because I was just talking about the fact that I'm actually in the process of fixing my track plan on the computer program that I was telling you about. I'm not done yet. I actually got started and then decided to turn the camera on and New Fenris, I mean, trust me, I mean, I've got nothing against doing that. In fact, this here is built to where I can run 2 trains continuously without having to touch anything. You know, I can go over there, put 2 trains on, and just let them run the layout. Like I said, it takes them about 1:04. Unlike Sparky, where it takes it 5 minutes to get from one end to the other, with mine it's 1:45. So, and I know I've got a bunch of family that are not railroad people. They're not into the model railroads. They want to see trains and they want to look at the scenes and things of that nature. And after about 10, 15, 20 minutes, they're done and they'll go back upstairs. Yeah. The funny thing about this, Sparky, I can see them from where I'm sitting, but if I put the glasses on, I can't see anything. So, evening, Dave. But, and that's like I said, that's the ultimate. I mean, this is a dual purpose layout. It'll do continuous run, or if I want to do switching operations, I can do switching operations. And like I said, for the switching operations, it'll take anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 hours to run a full session, and that's real time. That's not compressed, but that's by myself too. If I get a crew down here, it's not going to take any time at all to go through that. I guesstimate if I get the full crew down here, I'm guesstimating it would probably take us between 2.5 to 3 hours to do a full operating session, which I think that's pretty typical amongst operating railroads. For the most part, it seems like the Naugatuck Valley that David Pop had. I've heard some other folks. I think it was why can't I think of the guy's name now? Bruce Chubb. I think his is the same way. I think that they got his down to where they're doing a session in 6 hours, but that's a full 24 hours on the railroad. That's pretty freaking insane. So but like I said, I mean, that for those of us that have family members or friends that just aren't in the model railroading, just to come down here and flip a switch and watch the trains run is really all they're looking for. Hey, John, welcome aboard. There's somebody I don't recognize. But like I said, to be able to come down here, rail fan like I was, for the 4th of July, where I had the 1776 or the bicentennial trains running, up until the point where, of course, the camera was on and they decided to jump the track. Typical. Freaking thing ran fine for 25 minutes. As soon as I turned on the camera, oh well. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. You got to have. I think in this day and age, to a point, you kind of have to have both if you're able to do it. I mean, I know some people, they just want to do the switching route. They just want to go the switching route, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and for years, I've had loop-to-loop layouts. And of course, with the last one, I had the 13-foot by 11-foot. It was like every 20 seconds or so, the train showed back up. There's the train. Oh, there's the train. There goes it. And you got 4 of them running, so that's like they're constantly going around. So. But it is what it is. To each his own. And if you're able to get both, great. If you're able to do one, if you can only do one or the other, that's fine too. Mine are the troubles all day. Turn on the GoPro and they'll run perfect. Well. I guess to a point, that's a good thing, Sparky. That's a good thing. If they'll run when people are watching. Oh, let's see. How can I fix this diagram to where it makes more sense? Because right now it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, actually, it does. It's just not the way that it turned out. If anybody's wondering, that just showed up, I was actually in the process of working on the track plan, because I've had some folks ask me, do you have a track plan for the railroad? And well, I had what I was working off of, but I actually don't have a plan. Oh, Model Railer, what's going on, John? Boy, there's that Model Railer. I think the last time I saw you was when I did Sidetrack Sunday. You only popped in for a little bit, but that's fine. How you been, buddy? Yeah, I don't make a whole lot of sense, John. I don't. Model Railer, you know that. Oh, man. Oh, boy. TMI. TMI, Model Railer, TMI. Oh, man, that's a vision I can't get out of my head now. Shit. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know if anybody caught it or not, but believe it or not, I finally hit 300 subscribers. Yay! Now I just have to keep them. Now I just have to keep them. I think I'm at 302. I think is where I'm at. Oh, that's wrong mouse. Move that one up there for a minute. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think I actually picked up a couple of folks this afternoon. I was watching Barnabas Junction. So this afternoon on his live stream and watching him put down what was he? He was putting down sidewalks. So, hey, Wilmer, welcome aboard, sir. Yeah, I know, Jerry. I was up to 298, then I dropped back down to 296, and then I'm up to 302. That's what I said. I'll see how long it lasts. We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. Oh man, yeah, it's that whole thing, that sub for sub. Yeah, whatever. We'll see. There's some things coming. Maybe I'll pick up a few more. He had a little YouTube purge. Yeah, something like that. Oh man. Engineer Beethoven still hanging around the corner. So, like I said, I just kind of decided that, folks were asking when I was going to do another impromptu show, and well, here we are. Here we are. The goofball is at it again. Oh man, yeah, this track plan is all screwed up. Hey, I was gonna mess with this, but do I really feel like messing with this at the moment? Yeah, boy. Yeah, the R tracks are backwards. Jeez. Take it easy, Model Railer. If I shout your channel out anymore, I might as well make it your channel. Well, thank you. That's the thing, guys. I know and I really do appreciate everything that everybody's been doing. There's been tons of shout outs from Indian Head Valley, Wilmer. I know that Schuylkill Valley's done it. Jerry's done it. Grandpa Rails, everybody. And that's the thing, and it's one of the things, unfortunately, and I'll tell you guys right now, it's one of the things that I apparently, pardon my French, suck at. And that is going ahead and doing shout outs. In fact, if anybody follows my Facebook page, here it is. I was behind by like 5 or 6 additions to the to my group page, people that came on board. And the other day I was like, oh heck! And I noticed that I had one new guy. I'm like, you know what? I need to go through here and see if I can catch, everybody that's jumped on board. And I know I still missed people. And of course, our buddy Rodney, he turns around and when I said if you're new to the page, just shout out hello. And of course he said that, and I'm like, well, you've been around for a while, bud. But that's okay. It's all good. It's yeah, Wilmer. I gain 10, lose 5, gain 7, lose. Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, I was at 296, went up to 298. Back down to 295, and I'm up to 302. Who knows what's going to happen? I feel like I'm playing bingo or something. But that's okay. Like I said, there's some things that are coming up that I think are going to help me out a little bit, but it's all good. I mean, it's subs are great. It makes you feel like maybe you're getting out there, and even with the brand of nuttiness that I bring to the table, it's just one of those things that I guess it's just like everybody else. You either love it or you hate it. Here it is. It's me. Take it or leave it. Oh. Of course, my daughter always picks on me about things like that too. It's like, yeah. Actually, she picks on my wife. She's like, "You married this." I was born into it, but you married this. With the group, you can welcome new members with one click. It's over on the right under invite members. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that, Jerry. I'll have to. I mean, it's like I explained. I'm trying to think of who it was that I was talking to with the whole Facebook thing. Years ago when I first started this, I had my railroad and my personal stuff all on the same Facebook page, and which is fine, but it got to the point where I was getting anywhere between I'd say 250 to 500 plus messages a day between my personal stuff and the model railroading stuff. And it's because of the fact that I had joined all these different groups that I wanted to see what was going on. Case in point, the AHM group, where they talk about all the old AHM locomotives and Varney and all the old antiques, putting it mildly. And then of course the Tyco page and the Athearn page and the Bachmann page, and it just goes on and on and on. And then then you start adding in all the folks that are a part of YouTube that have their own Facebook group pages or their own Facebook pages for their railroads, and it was just too much. I could spend a whole day going through nothing but looking at all that stuff, and I would get nothing done. So by separating the two of them, I can go in and I can pick and choose, I guess, and look and see what's going on and post things differently than what I did when everything was combined. And that was really the whole reason for splitting them up. And of course, I kind of broken my own rule with my railroad page as well. I've been trying to keep politics and things out of there, but it's inevitable with the day and age that we're in. It's all over the place. You can't avoid it anymore. So I've kind of caught myself trying to keep that off that page. Not so much the group page. The group page, that doesn't happen. But just underneath the Beauville Newtown Facebook profile, it just started getting out of hand. And I'm like, you know what? I need to stop. Before I get myself in trouble. I need to stop. So I did. So it's now back onto either my primary page or one of my backup pages where I do nothing but talk about politics. You don't want that one. You don't want to go there. So, but yeah, that was the whole point behind doing that, was just, and it was funny because I took some, like I was saying, I took some pictures and actually put them up on my personal page and found out that I've got a whole bunch of people that are, not on my railroad page. So, it's like, and I had to go ahead and kind of tell them, you go over here. If you want to see the railroad stuff, go over here, because it's not going to get posted up over here all the time. But no, John 2618, you're not missing much. Trust me. One of the, and for years I thanks, Sparky. It's one of those things. Oh, here we go. Just jump the track. I know what I was talking about. Yeah, 26, John 26:18. Yeah, you're not missing anything. Trust me. And the only reason why I did it, there's Beethoven. There's my buddy. There's my buddy. What you doing? What you doing? There's no stormies tonight, I don't think. Oh, there's no storms tonight. Yeah. But it's just, one of the reasons why I did it is because of being former military or prior military. I wanted to catch up with some of my shipmates and things of that nature. And of course, with my other hobby, which got cut short this year, the bowling, we've got our own group page for that. So we can go ahead and just, for the people that are a part of the league, we can go ahead and target them with stuff, birthdays and things of that nature. So that's really all I even bother with anymore. It's just gotten to the point where it's just, the more I look through this stuff, it's like, this is ridiculous. It's just flat ridiculous. Yeah, Sparky, if you don't have somebody's phone number, Facebook Messenger is probably the only other way to get a hold of people, or Google Plus, Google Messenger. But I don't know too many people that use that either. But yeah, Grandpa, I do agree that it's a time. It just, but yeah, I noticed well, you and I, when I was dealing with the electric, which is still not done, by the way. Of course we did we did we do FaceTime, or did we use the what the heck is it? I forgot the other thing with the iPhones. FaceTime. That's what it is. But it's like I said, it's just whatever. I've even got family on Facebook that I don't even talk to, so that's another story for another time. We won't go there. Oh man. Anywho, yeah, John 26:18. That's basically what I did. Anybody that is really interested to see if they even though they subscribe to the YouTube channel, I do put some stuff up on that group page for the railroad every once in a great while. I try to stay up with it. I haven't done that this year though. I mean, I'm way behind on it. But like I said, I kind of put when I'm doing stuff, or what I'm doing, or taking pictures of what I'm doing, or whatever. But that's really all that goes up on that Facebook page. And I know that Wilmer's got his, and Dwayne's got his. The Crooked River and Eastern's got one. Dave Thurber. It's like I said, it's just another outlet, some place to. And of course, like I said, because of some of the groups that I'm a part of them, I've got there's a group down here called the Maryland Area Model Railroaders. It's strictly just the Maryland guys that are in there, and I'm not sure if Georgia Sunbelt popped in or not. I'm not sure he knows about that, but I'm not sure he's on Facebook. But that's one of the pages I'm a part of. Like I said, I've got the AHM page, the Atherton page, the Bachman page, Plasticville. I keep an eye out on the American Flyer page. Of course, most of that is S-Gauge. Every once in a while, something will pop up with HO, but it's real rare. Yeah, exactly, Sparky. I mean, like I said, it's just another one of those things. Hey, by the way, I just put this up in case you didn't catch it get a notification from YouTube. Even though every time, for the most part, I mean, Gmail will let me know when something comes up or somebody commented on a video or what have you. But sometimes that stuff doesn't show up. I mean, I know that there's guys that are putting stuff up that I'm not getting notifications from for some reason. And I know I subscribe to them, and I know I've hit the notification button. But you know what, Indian Head, you're right. He is on Facebook. I forgot he is, and he's a part of my page as well. I keep forgetting to tell you about that Maryland area page. That's kind of it's kind of nice, It's I think a couple of guys from the Wilmer and some of the folks from Pennsylvania might be familiar with the FCSME. That's the Four County Society of Model Engineers. They're out in Carroll County, which is about 45 minutes away from me. Some of their guys are actually on that Maryland Area Model Railroaders Facebook page, which is kind of nice. But yeah, Dwayne, that's one of the things that I've noticed too, is the fact that YouTube has been really spotty, letting me know when people are going live, and when I'm getting comments. And in fact, I've actually, when I was going back through some of my videos, I noticed that there was a couple of them where people left me comments and I never replied to them. And I'm like, what? So I had to go back and make sure I updated it because I wasn't getting the notifications. So the FCSME does, and it usually shows up at Timonium when the Timonium has their the big train show. I don't know if they're going to do one in October this year. I've got a feeling that's going to go away, but they have got an unbelievably large modular layout. That thing has got to be all of 100 feet long, and I'm going to say 8 feet wide. I mean, that thing, it's just huge. And it's a 4-track. I think it's a 4-track main, and they just have trains all over the place. I mean, I've taken pictures of it a few times. Yeah, but that you're right, Dwayne. I have to go back and go in and actually take a look at the video to see if I've got any updates or to see if anybody's been in there. I've been kind of corresponding with Jason, the train freak. He actually took a video the other day of his 130-foot turntable from Walthers, and I realized that 130-footer is a lot different than the 90-footer that I've got. And what he was looking at doing, which was taking what I had done and modifying it, won't work. Hey, Steve, welcome aboard, sir. Take it easy, John. Schuylkill River Valley, take it easy, buddy. We'll talk to you. But yeah, I mean, like I said, for the most part, the groups that we've got on here, about 40-foot different, I would say. 40 foot different. 40 foot different on what, Steve? Hey, Dave, being an SFN scale, welcome aboard. Kind of stinks that I have to keep this back there because I've got no room on the desk. Hey, Marcel, Cloverdale Rail, welcome aboard, sir. Long time, sir. Oh, oh yeah, well, yeah, it's nice catch there, Steve. Nice one. Yeah, no, it's the way it's set up. The 130 footer is just done differently than what the 90 footer is, and it's quite possible that with the one that I've got, that 90 footer, I think I got that back in 2003. I'm going to say that I've had that since like 2003, 2004. So that thing is 16 years old. And that was, I think that was really, the DCC really hadn't picked up yet. So that it's still a flat DC turntable. Hey, Heath, welcome aboard. Hey, RWC Toyman, welcome aboard, sir. Welcome to my brand of nuttiness. For what it's worth. Oh man. So it's like I said, what he was talking about doing was similar to what I had done with mine to fix that intermittent electrical problem. And like I said, for the 130, it's just not gonna work the same, unfortunately. And if anybody's wondering, yes, there is an update coming out on that turntable on Vlog 28 this week. I actually found my issue with the reason why that turntable was getting stuck. And it has to do with the fact that that particular part of the layout is sagging. I'm not sure why. It shouldn't be, but it is. So I actually had to put a temporary brace up underneath of it. I've got to figure out how I'm going to make something a little bit more permanent over there. That was part of the problem. The other problem is the fact that the way that plastic was, there's a lip. And when the trains come up or the locomotive parks on that bridge, it was actually settling in on the center and actually pushing and actually pulling in the sides. Spam calls. 8:45 at night, and you're going to spam me. I see. But yeah, that like I said, I did get it. Yeah, I know it's not you. I don't think you're in Glen Burnie, Maryland, Sparky. But yeah, it's I'm really happy with that idea that I came up with, and believe it or not, but that whole thing, I was having a conversation with with Grandpa Rails one night, and I was telling them about that turntable, and it was just one of those things. It was a brainstorm that I came up with putting the bearings in there. But like I said, him and I were just having a chat session, and it was one of those things that's like, hey, maybe this will work. Doesn't everyone have that ringtone? Yeah, I would imagine. I know that Sparky does. And they're leaving me a voicemail. Why is somebody? Like I said, it's probably a spam. Oh, I'll have to listen to that one later. Oh, heck. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, that wasn't a spam call. We interrupt this show for an important message. Actually, that one was that was somebody that was looking to join our bowling league this fall if we still have it. So sorry about that. that one was kind of important. You never know what's going to happen on a live show. Oh, brother. Go from one hobby to the other. This sucks being the league president. Anywho, so, but yeah, like I said, I'm what I've done so far with the with that turntable, moving the locomotives in and out of that roundhouse, it's worked. Which, for once, something I actually came up with, decided it was going to work the way it was supposed to. Imagine that. So, anywho, what else is going on out there, gentlemen? The phone does have a quiet button. Yeah, it does. The only other issue is I have a work phone and I have a personal phone, and unfortunately, the work phone has to stay on all the time. So you should patent your bearing idea and sell it to Walthers for a 16-year-old turntable. Take it easy, Dwayne. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Anthony Dodge, the model train outsider. Welcome aboard, sir. Now you get to see my brand of nuttiness. Take it easy, Sparky. I didn't realize you were splitting there too. Have a good one, buddy. And Dwayne, don't work too hard on that quarry. So if anybody doesn't know Anthony Dodge, yeah, here it is. We were talking about how bad I am with shout outs, but he's doing something that's extremely interesting. Here it is. He's modeling Germany, and he lives in Ohio. So, and he has got an awesome little setup with the Marklin with the Märklin trains. That is really something. I've caught a few of his live shows, and I've watched a few of his videos, and he's done some really nice stuff, folks. If you get a chance, go check him out if you haven't already. And Heath is still hanging around. Heath was hiding. Humanity Junction was hiding in the background. He was back in the weeds. So, but yeah, it was like I said, it was kind of interesting. I got a chance to catch Barnabas Junction earlier this afternoon, which I know he's one of the guys that Sparky has talked about. So, I actually got to catch his live stream this afternoon. Of course, they're fairly far ahead of us. He's over in England. So, it was nighttime for them. It was afternoon for us. Or I'm here listening, or at least trying to. Gotcha, Heath. Gotcha, Heath. So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, like I said, I was going to do some stuff down here and just decided, now I'm going to go ahead and mess around with something else. And now instead of that, I'm just sitting here shooting the breeze, which is fine by me. Which is absolutely fine by me. Because little no interaction with with the outside world. So this is it. Just finishing up the last of the event birthdays in this household today. Yeah, that's right. You guys had a couple of birthdays over there, didn't you, Anthony? Hey, Heath, I don't think any of us are very good at doing multitasking. To be perfectly honest, I try to. It don't work. It don't work. So, anywho, let's see. What else do I want to bring up? I know that there's something I want to talk about. There's something I want to talk about, and I can't do it yet. I have to wait. I don't want to go spilling the beans too early. So I won't go there. I'll just keep my mouth shut on that one. So take it easy, Uncle Wilmer. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Anniversary, grandparent announcement, 2 birthdays, 4th of July, all in 10 days. Yeah, no, Heath, it's not a rant. No, there's no rant. No rant. Yeah, I tell you what, Anthony, your July sounds like my June. I multitask at work, but at home it's another story. I hear you, Grandpa. It was funny because I was telling Anthony the other day he does live streams in the middle of the afternoon. Or in the mornings, and I caught one of them, and I said, "Yeah," I said, I'm sitting here working and listening at the same time, and it's like I can't do that. Like I said, with the way things are right now, the only thing that I've got to sort of keep my sanity, what's left of it, is to sit here and listen to live streams or watch the Santa Fe Junction on YouTube, because I refuse to turn on the TV. I am not turning on the TV. I am not going to go there, but that's another story for another time and another channel. Let's leave it at that. We'll just let that lie right there. Oh, man. But, like I said, I know that I'm probably going to say this again, but just so that everybody is up to speed, I did finish another operations session on this railroad on Sunday. I actually did it straight through, and it took me about 5 to 5.5 hours by myself to run the full 20 some plus trains across the layout. I did find a couple more little nuances. My E33, my Bachmann Spectrum E33, runs great on the outer loop, does not like the inner loop, which is really goofy because they're both 22-inch radius. I don't understand what the deal is there. I did go ahead and take a look at the wheels, and I did find one of them that was slightly out of gauge. So I went ahead and put it back in gauge, and we'll see what happens the next time I decide to do another operating session. We'll see how it works out and see if I got it fixed. Understood. No work too hot and do too much outside. So trains and live streams keep me sane, or a reasonable facsimile. Exactly. Yeah. Well, the way Anthony, we were talking about in your live stream yesterday about how you're in the same boat we are. I mean, it's been anywhere between 85 to 95 degrees with 90 to 96% or 97% humidity. And it's absolutely brutal to try and do anything outside. And last night we finally got some rain. Unfortunately, it came all at once. I think in some spots down here, we actually got somewhere close to 2 inches of rain last night through multiple thunderstorms that went on for like 6 hours. I mean, it was intense last night. That's what I was telling everybody earlier. Here it is. I was trying to get some stuff done down here, and my 2 4-legged engineers decided that they were going to be underfoot. Hi, hon.
Hi. I can see how he was.
Oh, he's just sitting down here chilling with me. I see Emma followed you down. Yeah, there's Emma. My wife just went over to the other side. Hi, girl. Well, I know you want attention. Daddy, hey, look. Who's that? Who's that? Huh? Who's that? Who's on TV? Huh? Who's on the computer? Look, Emma. Look, who's that? Yeah, this is true. That's why you have trains inside. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice down here. It's 72 degrees and the humidity is pretty much normal. Pretty much stable. I think it's probably somewhere around 35-40%. My arm doesn't bend in that direction. You 60-pound oaf. Sheesh. Anywho. But yeah, like I said, I mean, this is how we keep our sanity these days. Come down here, mess with the trains, or try to. Hi, girl. Yeah, I know I stopped. I'm sorry. Yeah, she won't bark at you. She'll just pull at you if she still wants attention. Yeah, see, I'll stop and yeah, there comes the paw. Girl, they can't see you. You're facing the wrong direction. Yeah, you're facing the wrong direction. Yeah, you're facing the wrong direction. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sheesh. Man's best friend. But like I said, I was going to do some stuff down here, or try to do some stuff down here last night. Couldn't do it. Not with the two of these guys underneath my feet the whole time. And then, to say this evening, I was going to come down here and do some stuff. Then I remembered that my brother and his kids are supposed to come down, this weekend. So it's like, you know what? I better not start ripping this thing apart too much because the kids have been pestering my brother. Oh, we gotta go see Ralph race trains. So yeah, I guess I better keep them running. Steve, trains in an AC basement. Yeah. Climate controlled. Yeah, definitely got to be climate controlled. Definitely got to be climate controlled. I was going to take care of that. So, like I said, I was just kind of came in here to do just to okay. I'm sorry, I stopped. I know. Sheesh, getting beat up from all directions here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I see those poles. What? Did I stop? Oh, I wasn't supposed to. Okay. Oh, brother. Yeah, I can't imagine. Or in the PNW, you don't have to worry. Always between like 50 and 80. Oh, the Pennsylvania Northwestern. I was wondering what. I had to think of what your railroad was there, Steve. Sorry. Yeah, that's one of the things I just don't. I don't know how folks out in the Midwest or out in the West do these garden layouts in Arizona and the like. I can't imagine trying to be outside working on those things. I really can't. I know that there's a big area of G-scale modelers out there, and it's like, how do you do it? Why? I want to be where it's cool. I don't want to be out in the heat anymore. Oh, Pacific Northwest is Seattle. Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry, Steve. Yeah. Yeah, the Pacific Northwest. I was out there last year. Seattle's a nice place. I only spent a few hours there, but yeah, Anthony, yeah, I've got a TV, a fridge, and a bar down here too. Although the bar is a dry bar, but there is a bar down here. That's where the dispatcher station will end up. We've already talked about that. Sparky picks on me about that all the time too. Yeah, I could see where operating sessions are going to become a real ball with a bar down there. Oh boy. Sheesh. Yeah, of course. And the thing of it is, Steve, is Marcel Cloverdale Rail isn't that far from. He's up in Vancouver, or he was. I think he moved again, but he was up in Vancouver. Marcel, are you still hanging out in the chat, bud, or did you disappear on me? Waiting for the chat to catch up. There ain't too many people chatting in there tonight. Looks like I've got 12 people just watching me and the dog. And put you to sleep. Oh, we got to go back to a belly rub. Yeah, Anthony, that was what I was saying. It's funny, this afternoon I checked, I'm up to 302. Now to see if I actually hold on to them. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. It's like I went from 295 to 298, down to 296, back up to 299, back down to 295, then all of a sudden I'm up to 302. I'm like, okay. Yeah, same kind of weather. It's only our second day of summer here. Spoiled. Who are you talking about there, Grandpa? The dog? Yeah, the dog is definitely spoiled. They're both spoiled. They're spoiled, rotten, poopy dogs, right? Right? You get no loving. Yeah, no lovins whatsoever, right? Yeah, no lovins. No lovins, no attention. Ow, okay, all right. Hey, wait a minute, my arm doesn't bend in that direction. YouTube did a sweep the last few days. Yeah, it figures. It figures. It never fails. I'll pick them back up. Something like that. Like I said, I think I was at two. Oops, wrong mouse. I was getting ready to do. Let's see where this is at now. And yep, 302. Yeah, now she's gonna go dive in the rug. You'll hear her over there growling. Yeah, Heath, like I said, it seems like, I think, and we've all talked about this, this whole thing that YouTube, the algorithm that they've got, where it do sub for sub, they wipe them out, or they're getting rid of, like, somebody. I think who was it that just said about clearing out. It was Anthony was talking about clearing out dead subs. So it's possible. Emma. Jeez. It's kind of nice that they do that, but when you're looking for certain milestones, like I said, I've been trying to hit 300 for a long time. Man, I finally got there, and I'm like, well, now we'll see if I actually hold on to the 302. Like I said, I know I've subscribed to a few new channels that I picked up on from Anthony and from Sparky and a couple others. Yeah, that's the other, and that's one of the other things we were just talking about too, Heath, is the fact that YouTube and their notification system doesn't seem to be working very well. If you don't go back and actually take a look at a video that you just posted, you may not know that people, you may not know that people actually went ahead and I'll take that up.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I did pick up a couple from your stream, Anthony. Yeah, I picked up a couple from you. I picked up a couple from Barnabas this afternoon. So it's as we expand our horizons a little bit too, instead of being so focused. And I think that was part of my issue in the very beginning. I wasn't interested in seeing an N scale layout or an O scale layout or an S gauge layout. I'm an HO guy, and I wanted to stick with the HO scene so that way I could see how other HO gaugers were doing their things. Welcome aboard, Bill. Evening. I think that's another new sub. I don't think I've seen you in here before, sir. But it's over the past couple of years, I've realized that if we're going to expand our horizons, and if we're going to expand, and come up with different ideas, we need to be looking at all gauges. Everything from Z scale all the way up to G gauge or G scale and beyond. And that's the only way we can do it, and just pick up ideas from everybody. Curly Express, welcome aboard, Dwight. There's another newbie. I don't recognize that one. But it's yeah. And not only that, but not only the different scales, Grandpa, but the different facets. Like we were just talking about Anthony, the model railroad out there, the model train outsider. Here it is. He's doing American HO, and he lives in Ohio. He's modeling Germany, so it's there's a completely different facet that most of us don't think about. And watching these guys over in England with a double O gauge, which is essentially HO gauge, it's just a little bit different because their scaling is a little bit different. But that's what we got to do. I mean, the community, the model railroading community as a whole, and I mentioned this earlier this year, it's a very niche community. It's not something that everybody's into, and we've got to help each other out. And I think what Sparky did with those 3 videos that he put up, that expanded us as well, because of the way that YouTube started doing things where you couldn't click on a name in chat and have it take you to the channel anymore. But I go by channel personality, size doesn't matter. Leave it be. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, yeah, you're right, Anthony. I mean, it's like I said, with my brand of nuttiness that I bring to the table, every week with my vlogs, and I know that that's probably another thing. I put out a lot of content over the last almost 6 years, but there were some things, as I was trying to figure out where I was, where I was within the community. And trying to find, I guess, for lack of a better term, just trying to find a foothold. Where do I fit into this mess? Because I'm not the high end, everything, every nut and bolt detail on everything. I'm a basic bare bones kind of guy, and that's what I like. That's what I enjoy. I'd rather have the trains running and be able to watch them and be able to do a realistic operation than go in and super detail a scene. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, details are great. But if you spend, and I think this is one of the things that somebody brought up a while back, if you go in and you spend so much time on a scene, you get into a rut, and you lose focus. And the folks have been asking me, how did you get this thing built so quick? You know, how did you get from point A to point B so fast? And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I had planned out a new railroad in my old house. When we moved, I saved everything. You know, everything got boxed up and broken down and moved. And, you know, it was just, you know, the biggest thing that I had to do with this railroad was just off to the right over here was to join, you know, this section with the section that's over by the bar. That's really the only new piece on this whole railroad. The rest of it's all been repurposed from the old 13-foot by 11-foot layout. That's how I got where I am so quick. You know, and the other thing that was funny too is I kind of skipped around a little bit too. You know, I would go ahead and I would work on something and I'd start working on something else. And then I'd go and work on this and then I'd skip and come back and do something else. But hey, Jack, and you're right, planning is everything. And I think that was the other part of this too, is the fact that I spent, with the old layout in that old house, I spent, if you look back on those logs, I made 43 separate plans for that railroad to fit in that particular basement. And the last one was basically 14 feet by 9 feet. 14 feet by 19 feet. Hey, Joe, welcome aboard, buddy. That's fine. It's all good, man. You know, and I could see the vision then. It's like, this is what I want. And I finished that last plan, I think it was in late 2018. And I was getting ready to, you know, actually put it on the paper and start putting all the little nuances together. And then we up and moved. So this is actually a bit off of that 14-foot by 19-foot layout that I had. So like I said, I already had the basis for where I wanted to go. That layout had 2 hidden yards. It was a 2-track main. It had the city and so on and so forth. I already knew how I wanted to do things. The biggest thing was getting that plan to fit this basement. And it was easy because of the fact that I have no obstructions to speak of. You know, it was literally the only obstruction I had was getting from the bar to this side of the basement. And you know, it's one of those things that I'm glad the wife went upstairs. But you know, one of the things that this layout still could do is I have room to move. I have room to expand. I could still come over in this direction a little bit. I could still go down off to the side here a little ways. But you know, it's if I wanted to in the future, I could expand this thing. And you know, am I going to do that? I'm not even worried about that right now. I'm not even done with this one. But this one could be expanded upon fairly easily. And Grandpa, you're right. You know, that's absolutely true. You know, I came up with the base plan, and you know, when I was showing off the original plan for this, which is on this other computer screen that keeps turning off on me, but when I first drew it up, the only thing I drew up was the main lines. I had no idea where the sidings were going to be, where the industrial area was going to be, none of that. I put the main line down and then went back and went, okay, cool, I've got this. Now I need to know now I can figure out where I'm going to put everything else. Take it easy, Jerry. Welcome up. Thank you for coming in, buddy. We'll talk to you later, man. But you know, like I said, that was the thing. I came up with the base plan, built the bench work, put the track plan down, and I actually made changes to it because this area here was supposed to, once it came off this corner, was supposed to go straight across the front and then turn and go around the hill. Obviously, I've made changes to that to where now I have this big S-curve sitting out here, so I'm not following the edge of the layout. 1, 2, it gives me a place to go ahead and put buildings out towards the edge of the layout, so that way, here again, it breaks up that whole going around in circles thing. Even though I'll have this big backdrop going down to the center of this thing, which you won't be able to see what's on the other side of it. But yeah, welcome back, John. Oh man, I built my 4x8 layout, so my Walther's contest build is my first module for the next layout. And Steve, that's the thing. I mean, I started out, I've been in and out of the hobby for about 40 years. And I say I've been in and out of the hobby. I'll be perfectly honest. The first layouts, quotation marks, was a 4x8. Actually it was a 4x6 that my father had built for me as a Christmas layout. We used to put the Christmas tree on top of it. When my parents moved into their first house, he brought the layout over that his father had built for him, which was a 4x8. The second year in that house, we took the 4x8 and the 4x6 and we mated them together. And then the next year after that, we got rid of the 4x6 and literally put another 4x8 in and had an L-shaped 2 4x8 layout. And that's how we got started. And him and I had talked when I was in the service, because they had moved again into a rancher that had a wide open basement. We had talked about building a layout in that house. And unfortunately, once I came out of the service, all three of my grandparents got sick, and then my father got sick. And within the span of 5 years, I lost 3 grandparents and my father. So those dreams went out the window. That was the middle 90s were not very kind to my family at all. And most people would be like, okay, well, that's the end of it, right? No. I had acquired my grandparents, both sides of my family. My grandparents had N-Gage. I went ahead and built a little N-Gage layout that I could sit there and futz with and come up with ideas. And if anybody goes back and takes a look at pictures through some of my older vlogs, I talk about the test bed layout, because that's exactly what it was. It was literally built on a 4 foot by 6 foot bed. And that was the beginnings of, getting back into the hobby. And then of course, when my wife and I got our first house, I put up the layout, the old 2 4x8s, which at that point in time had a 2x5 added to it for a yard. And then when we moved in with my mother-in-law, I went ahead and took that, my daughter and I actually took that apart and built the 13 foot by 11 layout that I used to have. And then, of course, as she started, getting deeper and deeper into school, well, then, it wasn't so much that she lost interest. She just hasn't had time. And, of course, now she's got a boyfriend. So, yeah, she doesn't come down here and play with the trains as much as she used to. So, but, and then we moved last April. And then last August, I started on this thing. And ta-da, there it sits. So there's a little bit more history for you folks. Now you don't have to go back and look through all the old vlogs. Although if you're looking for comedy, that's what better part of them are. Hey Marcel, welcome back. Started my layout as just a switching one, decided that I want to have continuous loop. Soon they expand it. Now I have one loop for freight and a separate loop for passenger service on a scenic train. And to be honest, Joe, that's what my old 13-foot layout was like. I could go down and I could turn on the switch and close the bridge, as it were. Close the bridge and watch 4 trains run around. I had 2 loops for passenger trains and 2 loops for freight trains, which in itself isn't exactly prototypical. I get it, but it was something to mess with. It was another idea. It was another test for everything that I've done or had done up to that point. And now that's morphed into this thing, and it's to me, as I was stating earlier in this live stream, the other night I was down here, or other day I was down here for 5.5 hours, and I ran another test session. And when you're doing this by yourself, running a test session and actually doing operations by yourself, it's a pain. It's an absolute pain, but boy, is it a blast. Because you get to see all the different little nuances and the gotchas, and okay, how do I handle this now? How do I fix that? How am I going to get train A from point A to point B? It's, you said the P word. The P word. Okay, I must have missed something, Anthony. Anyway, but it's just, yeah, exactly, Jack. It actually is. Oh, prototypical. Yes, I know. And that's one of the things, as we've talked about, Anthony, with this layout, it does not follow any particular prototype. It doesn't follow any particular area. The two hidden yards are supposed to represent, the cities of Richmond and the city of Harrisburg, but that's it. It takes me 3 hours to do a rail operate. That's well, you're doing better than I am, Jack, because like I said, it takes me anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 hours to do it. Yeah, it's exactly, Marcel. It's Proto Lance. Absolutely. Hey, Rick Bailey, welcome aboard. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, Proto Lancing. And it seems to me nowadays, I guess in the very beginning, a lot of folks went and they were going after prototype. It's got to be a prototype. It's got to follow this. It's got to follow that. And they set themselves rules. I mean, there's still guys out there that do that. I get it. It's nice. Okay, fine. It's not for everybody. If to go in there and actually, have to put yourself into that box and actually, have to model a particular town, a particular city, or whatever it is, to me, that gets back into that whole super detailing thing. And I'm not one of those people. I cannot sit still that long. I'll admit it. I've got ADHD. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I bounce around. I mean, I cannot sit there and focus in on something like that. I've got to have some freedom. I've got to make it me. And, that's not for everybody. If, this guy might want to do prototypical stuff, and this guy might want to do complete freelancing, and that's fine. And everybody has their own niche. And it's just the way it is, The dog is giving us the look. The only dog that's down here right now is Beethoven, and he's over here behind my name, and he's got his back to us. Oh, the dog is. Oh, I'm sorry, Heath, your dog. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about mine. I forgot Heath's got a dog too. My fault. Rick Bailey, definitely set up a brand new account now. I just did. I'm just stuck on moving my account to it or make it new. Were you moving your YouTube account around there, Rick? But and Jack, I know I've watched your stuff. I've seen you around, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly. I know you do a lot of tank trains. I know you love tank cars, my friend. Oh, all right, Rick. I got you. Yeah, I'm too far into it. I'm not going to be able to move mine now. There's no way. I'm just going to leave it as me, and it will go from there. It is what it is. Yeah, I had thought about moving mine, but I'm like, you know what? It's just way too much stuff to move around, man. There's no way, no way. You know, I just can't see it. But you know, the one thing that does kind of irk me with this layout is the fact that one of the things that I really wanted to do, I ended up not having enough room to do it, and that's along that extension, that bridge section that goes across the bottom of the steps. I really wanted to, and I know Joe Rader is familiar with it. You know, there's a place down here where the Maryland and Pennsylvania used to run through. Of course, it was long before I-695 was put in, but there's a place that we all know around here we call Luskin's Hill. Luskin's used to be a furniture dealer, and they set up on this one hill as you're heading east on 695. And they used to have a big sign up there and so on and so forth. But just below where their shop was, or their store was the Maryland and Pennsylvania main line. And it crossed over where 695 and Cromwell Bridge Road and Loch Raven Boulevard are. And I wanted to model that particular piece of 695 and have the trains going over top of it. Two issues: I didn't make the spot where I put the bridges wide enough to be able to take care of that. First off. Second issue was that section is only 15 inches deep. So to be able to get all that in there, you know, it's not going to work out. No, no, I've got enough room, Marcel. It's just it didn't, the spot, because and here's another one for you. Hey, good evening, Dustin. Here's another one for you. Anybody who's that has watched the vlogs and has listened to me talk about this is I tried to keep a 3-foot path all the way around the layout. So in other words, on the back side of the layout where the hidden yards are, the layout is 3 feet from the wall. On the front side here at the base of the steps, the layout is 3 feet from the base of the steps. Over by the bar, it's 3 feet away from the bar. And on that wall, it's 3 feet away from that wall. So I've got a 3-foot barrier basically all the way around. To be able to accomplish that, I had to take the section over here and really squash it. I was hoping to go 2 foot, ended up at 15 inches. I ended up just under 1.5 feet, which has created some other issues. But, you know, could I have moved that particular idea? Could I have moved it someplace else to where I could have gotten what I wanted? Well, yes and no. The issue that I came into as well is where this angled piece of backdrop is with the hole in it, which is where the RBC distribution company sits. That backside of that happens to be Harrisburg Yard. I can't move that any farther this way, because if I do, then I end up taking away from the Richmond Yard, which really limits how long the trains can be. So those two factors left me to keep that area, you know, where that 15-inch deep area is, where there's going to be some scenery back there, and that's the reason why there is a white hill back there. I'm just not going to be able to do what I originally wanted with that spot. That's all. It's just a little too tight. So I'll just make it something a little bit different. I might just make it to where it's maybe I'll make it to where it's the Gunpowder River instead. You know, up towards the not Baldwin. What am I looking for? Up near Manor Road and such. So, but we'll see. He's allergic to around the walls layout, Marcel. Now, model railer, no, it's I had thought about doing that as well, but it's just because of the fact that I wanted that hidden area on the backside. I didn't want to put it right up against the wall. So that was the reasons for doing it that way. Ray, second week of August, possible OC. I'm going down towards the end of July. We're going to miss each other there, buddy. Don't make it wider, make it longer by a foot or two. The yard. Yeah, well, the yards are as big as they're going to get. Yeah, the yards right now are as big as they're going to be. If I do expansion on the north end here, which is where this hill is, if I do decide to expand, that's where the yards would eventually be. And I've got a large area over there to where I can make them fit a little bit better, and then I can go ahead and do something with this back here. Well, and that's the thing, I got away from the 13-foot by 11-foot layout had that swing bridge because you operated that layout from a pit, because originally that one wasn't around the walls layout. But when it got moved, it wasn't in a room where it was viewable from the middle. It was actually viewable from the outside, which screwed up some of the perspectives that I had put on that, because I actually used end-scale buildings and vehicles along the backside that forced that perspective for distance. But I love that old swing bridge that I had built for that old layout. I mean, that thing worked flawlessly. Yeah, Sparky doesn't have a duck under, but he's got that huge freaking helix. And he is an around the wall layout. I understand. I can't, with this basement, I don't think I could have gotten away with an around the wall. Not for what I wanted, anyways. And even with when I had the plans for the 14-foot by 19-foot layout over at the old house, there were no duck unders. That was an island layout. It sat in the middle of the room. The worst part with that one was there was a pinch point that was only about a foot wide for somebody to have to get through it if they were coming from the hidden yards onto the main layout. So that was a pinch point. That one there was one of those things that I was going to have to deal with. But yeah, Sparky designed a building around the layout. Trying right now to put track on the peninsula, but having issues with the radius start. Yeah, that was one of the things that I was not going to be looking forward to on that one layout that I had designed. Oh yeah, and if anybody really goes back and takes a look at those, boy, there were some really interesting design ideas I had for that place. At one point in time, I had a lift bridge that was an elevator that would have actually taken the trains from the lowest level to the second level, because I was going to build a dual deck layout, but I didn't have the room to put in a helix. I didn't have enough real estate to do that. Grandpa Rails, not everybody is as young as you. Well, then he has two helixes, which remove the need for a yeah. I use a mechanic stool and rollers to get under mine. Too damn old to duck under or crawl under. Yeah. I hear you, Joe. I hear you. That's one of the reasons why I built that little thing that I've got for when I have to do work underneath the layout, so I don't have to crawl. I can just roll around. And that's one of the things that somebody else had asked me a while back. They asked me, what radius I'm running on this thing, and I'm running 22. And that's tight. I get it, but to get what I wanted, and since I'm really not using modern equipment, I'm using older equipment, from the 50s and 70s, for the era that I'm modeling, which is 1950 the 1970. I don't have a lot of the big, six axle locomotives and the 89-foot box cars and things of that nature. So, most of the stuff that I've got outside of my passenger cars is 50-foot or less. Some of the passenger cars are a little long, and yeah, to a point, maybe they don't look exactly right on the layout, but it still serves the purpose. The funny thing of it is, Jack, I've got, let's see, I've got two SD40s, two FP45s, and an E7, along with my GG1 and my E33. And all of them don't have any type of it. Well, I say that, but the E33's got issues, but I think that's the locomotive itself. But the rest of them don't seem to have an issue with the 22-inch radius. They really don't. They don't look bad either. Yeah, I understand. I hear you, Marcel, and that's one of the reasons why this layout will have a backdrop down the center of it, so you won't be able to see everything that's going on. And as I've mentioned before, I mean, a train on either loop, to make the full loops, if I'm in show mode, it takes them 1 minute and 45 seconds to make the whole layout. Unlike Sparky, where it takes it like 5 minutes across multiple levels. But I'm at 1 minute and 45 seconds. But if I do operations, which I've been doing by myself, it takes me anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 hours to run an operation session by myself, and that's 23 trains in that 5.5 to 6 hour session. And that's a mix of both passenger and freight. Some of it's local freight, some of it's through freight, and of course all the passenger trains, they all stop at they'll all stop at the station, and then another train comes out. Hey, Nora, welcome aboard, bud. Ain't seen you around in a little while. The Dash 9s you put on 22-inch radius looks great. Yeah, I tell you what was funny, and I mentioned this a while back. The one layout that I had years ago had the outside radius was 18 inches, the inside radius was 15. And the Pennsylvania GG1 would actually swing through that 15-inch radius, although it looked funnier than heck because the body would be sitting straight and the wheels were out from underneath of it. It was funnier than heck looking going around around that 15-inch radius, but it would make it. It would make it. And even on the 22-inch radius, it does swing out a little bit, but it's like I said, it's not too bad. And of course, I don't run these locomotives very fast either. I'm running when I do run them, I'm running anywhere between 35 to 50%, and of course I'm DC. So I mean, they're not running, they're not running at blazing speed. The passenger trains, I do run them a little bit quicker, but the freight trains, I run them fairly slow. Again, that's that realism. So. You had problems with your decoders? Ooh. One in his is fine, but I run the larger one. Yeah, like I said, I think if I would have had a little bit more, if I would have put a little bit more thought into this, well, I put a lot of thought into it actually. But using what I had available, I mean, it's with this thing, it's sectional track in the corners. There's flex track on the straights. But like I said, I was trying to keep things. I was trying to use what I had, and like I said, a lot of this is recycled. Quite a bit of it is. Yeah, 15-inch and HO scale is really tight. Although the radius that was on the very inner loop on both ends of those 4x8s was somewhere around 10 to 11.5 inches. So, you had to run really short cars and really small locomotives around those. Of course, the one was actually a trolley track or a streetcar track. So, you didn't have to worry about something with a long wheelbase going across that. But yeah, that was a really, really tight radius in HO. They go 10.5 to 11 inches. There wasn't much that was going to run on that. Yeah, I can imagine, Dave. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Grandpa. I mean, unfortunately, stuff for. I mean, any hobby is expensive. I mean, I take a look at my bowling equipment, for instance, and some of that stuff, some of those bowling balls and all that I bought, those were 150, 200, $250. So, I mean, any hobby that you get into is expensive. But if I collected up all this stuff. Hey, Jason, welcome aboard. Um, it was just the fact that that's what I had on hand, and that's what I decided to use. So, laugh out loud, Jack. Oh man. Well, that was the funny thing. You've heard me talking the hot rod Rodney. I do want to put 15-inch radius on this layout, but it's not going to be for train. It'll be for streetcars. It'll be for trolleys and streetcars. That's all that 15-inch radius would be for. It's going to circle the city once I get the city built. Of course, that's after I get the first level straightened out. Got to work on the first level and get it straight before I can start building the second level. And that's the only spot that'll be a second level. Well, that's cool, Jason. I don't bowl in a travel league. I am actually the league president of a league that bowls in one house. I've actually held that position. It'll be going on 9 seasons this year. So yeah, like I said, Jack, yeah, that's the only thing that would run over there would be streetcars and trolleys. If you looked at the old 13-foot by 11-foot layout, that actually had 9-inch radius around the city. That was really tight. And there was only 2 streetcars that would run on that. I could go ahead and run a little 040 switcher across it too, but going off topic here, Jason, but Columbia 300 is my brand. I've bowled back in well, let's say I'll go back a ways. 96, I bowled a 298, and 99 I threw, or I'm sorry, yeah, 10-8-99 is when I threw my 300 game, and then a couple of years ago I threw a 299. So, I've thrown the big 3, unfortunately not all on the same night. Yeah, exactly, Jack. Yeah, 15-inch radius for the trolley. And I was going to do 18, but the problem with doing 18-inch radius on that second level is that it would go over top of the yard, the classification yard down at Beauville, and that wouldn't look right. So I'm going to scale that back down to 15-inch radius. And I was really hoping that the train shows were going to open back up, so I'd be able to go find myself some 15-inch radius. But I'm lucky if I bowl over 130. Well, you don't want to know what I usually throw. I only bowl once a week. I'm only bowling 3 games a week, and I'm holding between 198 and 210. And I'm still throwing the bowling ball that I threw the 300 game with. So, yeah. Dog is empty. I'm back. Welcome back, Heath. But yeah, I need bumpers. Oh man. Yeah, I tell you what, when I go to go bowling, the people around me tell me they call me Iron Man because I've got a brace that goes from my knuckles up to about here for my wrist, and I've got a knee brace that I have to wear because I messed up my knee when I was in the service, and I wear that just as a safety precaution more than anything else because there's been a few times where my foot has stuck and the foot goes this way and the body goes this way. The knee doesn't like that. So, hopefully he doesn't fill back up again. What you doing, Beethoven's? Yeah, mine is sitting down here or laying down here on the floor. With or without bumpers, Steve? Oh, on skee ball. Okay. Oh boy. Mine are all 15. Mine are all generally right around 15, 15 and a half, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think on my page I think I've still got a couple of my old bowling videos up. I don't know if they're actually viewable or not, but that's that's something I'd rather even not even talk about that right now. But I use bumpers. Yeah, well, mine's asleep. One of my dogs is asleep on the floor. He's right there. Right, Foot. Right. What you doing, buddy? He's like, you disturbed me. Yeah, you disturbed me. Engineer Beethoven. I can't believe I'm using Pico switches for the Peninsula. Yeah, that's the thing. Most of my switches are Atlas or Lifelike. Your pins move with a 10-pound ball. Oh, brother. Yeah, but yeah, with that he's my helper, Jack. As you can see how much help he actually is. Somebody wants their 15 minutes of fame. No, this chair, this chair is, yeah, I don't know. Hate them, but I have to use them. No. Yeah, he's holding. You're right. He does a good job of holding down the floor. At least it's not like last night where he was up underneath my feet while I was up underneath the layout. He was a mess last night. We had storms in the area. He does not like storms. He does not like storms at all. Him or the other dog that was down here a little bit ago, Emma. I don't know. I guess she went back upstairs with the wife. I don't hear her running around down here, so. What you doing, boo? What you doing, Beethoven? What you doing, buddy? Finally got the incline in place. Plaster cloth is set. Cork is down. Tomorrow is track. Nice, Rick. Nice, Rick. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't have any Picos down here. Like I said, most of mine are Atlas. I've got a couple of life legs. I've got one old Model Power that's a three-way switch. That's actually the lead into the yard, and one of the crossovers. And I got some. I think they're the old AHM um, switches. Those aren't too bad. I mean, they seem to work. I mean, I've got them on the main line. They seem to be working. So all the room you had. Well, see, that's part of the issue, though, Jack, is I was restricted as to what part of the real estate I could use down here. I had to talk to the property manager when I was building the layout, and she told me where I could put it and where I couldn't. But that's not to say that once we get into the future and things change a little bit, that I don't end up taking over some more real estate down here. Stay tuned for that one. I actually enjoy the Kato switches. I have to put them in where they were installed. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I've got four Shinohara curve switches over in the over on the city side. Why? What restrictions? You gotta be. Well, see, the thing is, the basement. This table behind me, which is actually right now is my workstation because I'm working from home, was supposed to be our gaming table for playing card games and board games and things of that nature. Well, because of the fact I'm working from home, this became my office. The other thing is there's a workout area. There's a small, I guess you could call it a gym over to the left here. And beyond that, there's a bedroom. And also off of the workout area, there is the laundry room and my workbench. So, I was basically told where I could and where I couldn't go, at least for the moment. Negotiations are forthcoming. Yeah, well, I could go ahead and put in a helix and go up, but the ceilings down here aren't that tall. In fact, where I'm sitting here, the ceiling right above this desk is barely 6 foot. And then I've got the beam back here, and then on the other side, the ceiling is only about 8 foot. So. Well, we won't go there, Jack. Easier to ask for forgiveness. Well, she's every time she comes down here to do laundry, she looks at this thing and just shakes her head. So. Yes, trust me, Anthony. This is one of the things I've talked about, possibly where this could become a peninsula here, because there is enough room to either side to where I can still keep that 3 foot. The biggest issue right now is the fact, like I said, is right on the other side of this wall here is the laundry room. So I don't want to have to bring a laundry basket and have to go around the layout to go back upstairs. So. Just make one long incline in a loop. I thought about those in the past too, Rick. Yep. I hear you, Jason. I will trade you your space for mine. Oh, man. Oh, brother. Trust me, I'm glad I'm not building mine in the garage. It's especially around here right now. Like I said, it's It's been anywhere between 85 to 95 degrees with 90% humidity. It just flat sucks outside. It just flat sucks. But like I said, I've left myself some room for expansion if and when that happens. What you showed is the size of your apartment. Well, eventually we have been talking about putting the laundry room on the first floor, but that's going to be down the line. That's going to be down the line somewhere. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Like I said, we just moved in last year, so we're taking care of other things first. Put a laundry on a flying pulley system across the room and walk and retrieve it. Oh, brother. Laughing alive. My wife's side of the closet is bigger than my layout. Isn't it funny how that works? I've yet to figure out, go for it. You have a bar in the bedroom just in case you get in trouble. This is true, Rick. This is true. Garage in Arizona gives you about 2 weeks of comfortable conditions. I was talking about that earlier, Dave. I don't know how people do G-scale out in Arizona. I just don't understand how you do that. I mean, it just, how? Really? Oh boy, you guys are going to get me into trouble. I like the way you think, but you're going to get me in trouble. Oh my gosh. You all ain't right. Oh. Yeah, it hardly ever rains. That's the reason why they have. Yeah, this is true. But I can't imagine trying to operate in that kind of heat. I'm on the coast, so we have great weather. Well, that's the other thing too, Dave. I've seen that where they hire guys to build those layouts. I'm sorry. If I'm in this hobby, I'm building one for myself. I'm not building or having somebody else build it. I must have missed something along the way. You watch it from inside. Yeah, well, that's true too, John. Absolutely. You would think they would make G-scale rainproof. Get her a she shed, problem solved. Well, that's the reason why Sparky's got a shed. He doesn't. They don't have a she shed. They got a he shed. Oh man, we're picking on Sparky Nina in the air to defend himself. You ever been in a convection oven that goes faster? Yeah. You sit inside working on the equipment. Would love to see a G-scale. I've actually seen G-scale locomotives with a snowplow. There's actually a video on YouTube that somebody had of a G-scale locomotive pushing snow around. But a rotary snowplow would be really cool. I can just imagine. I've heard that a lot of those G-scalers are going over to battery power. Although I know there's a few of them that are doing live steam as well. That's gotta be something else. To sit there with a live steam G-scale locomotive. There was a guy that went to his mailbox. Okay. I find myself moving it off, putting it somewhere on the layout, and putting it back on the peninsula. Ken Patterson is rebuilding his G-Scale. Oh. Yeah, I haven't seen a G-Scale rotary snowplow video, Marcel. I'll have to go looking that one up. Like I said, I know that I've seen a couple of the steam engines with the big plow on the front to push the snow around, but not so much of the rotary. That's going to be pretty awesome. Like I said, though, I've heard a lot of those G-Scalers are going over to, like I said, the live steam or going over to battery power because of the fact that the electrical systems obviously outside just don't hold up. It's called a vertical lawnmower. Sorry, I had a G-Scale that went out to his mailbox, would park a flat car in the box. All right, there you go. Talk about couch potato. Well, then again, if you're having to deal with the heat, that probably wouldn't be a bad way to go. Just put it on the flat car. I know that there's restaurants that have used G-Scale to deliver food, drinks, and everything else. Oh man, that would have to be a fairly large mailbox to be able to put a flat G-Scale flat car in. I don't know if the Postmaster General would have a good things to say about that. Nice. Yeah, there's one down in Ocean City, Maryland. Well, that one there doesn't deliver the food, but it goes around the rafters of the restaurant. I don't know where the other ones are, but yeah, I've seen a few of them where they actually use the G-Scale trains or O-Scale trains to deliver food and drinks to tables. That's pretty wild. That is pretty. You talk about putting a model train to work. That's pretty neat. Used to be one here in Parkville. I don't remember that one, Joe, but okay. Yeah. Well, what you could do is you could use a REA car. You use a Railway Express agency car. That would be prototypical. Hey, fast mail. Don't give anybody any ideas. Yeah, or an RPO, exactly. Railway Post Office. There you go. Hey, hon, can you get the mail? Sure, give me a minute. Special delivery. Huh. Yeah, I was just over in that area tonight, Joe. I was down at the Charcoal Grill. I went down there to pick up some food down there on Old Hartford and Putty Hill. So I was driving through that area tonight earlier. But well, folks, it's been almost 2 hours, and It would be faster than USPS. Well, yeah. There's a lot of things faster than USPS there, Marcel, but we won't go there. Talk about snail mail. Oh, cool. Cool. All right. Well, like I said, I've been at this for 2 hours. It's been a long day. I got to go ahead and get myself poured into bed so I can go ahead and do this all over again tomorrow. Feel like I've been a part of Groundhog Day. I think everybody's basically been feeling like that, to be honest. So, it's on it. Maybe because of the fact I know that some other hey, Dave Piper, welcome aboard. I didn't see you in there. You must have been lurking. That's fine. I know that there's been a couple other cancellations of live shows this week. Is this the intermission? No, Heath, I'm done, buddy. I'm done. What I was getting ready to say, though, folks, is I know that there's been some cancellations of live shows this week. I know Uncle or Cousin Vinny isn't doing one this week. I know Sparky isn't doing one this week. I'm not sure about Rodney, but I might go ahead and throw one together. Maybe we'll see how things go. Maybe Thursday night or Friday, and maybe I'll instead of just maybe I'll go ahead and do another operation session, or at least have some trains running in the background, and we'll go from there. But you all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe. God bless. We'll catch y'all last time. See ya. I'm sorry, that was last week for Vinny? Okay, that's fine. I don't want to I don't want to step on somebody's toes. So we could do a you know what? After the Cuz does his Friday night, Rick, that's not a bad idea. We could do a panel. We could do a panel. Maybe we can get a couple of folks together. I think I saw something with StreamYard where they've expanded it. So, maybe we could get a few folks just to have a goofball session or something. We'll figure it out. It'll work. So take it easy, folks. We'll see you. Let's see. And the broadcast.